Welcome back to episode 8 of our Building Green series, where we use eco-friendly guidelines to do amazing Minecraft builds. And this is going to be the season finale. Wasn't planning on it being a season finale. Actually had 2 more builds planned, but my computer's giving me a hard time, so yeah. We're gonna have to stop at number 8. But it seems to work for Grian's Life SMP, so yeah, we'll give it a shot. And today we're going to build a house for Hua. After all, we finally got a home for all of our wonderful villagers, our not problems. And for the entire season, I've been sleeping here. It's cozy, you know, it works, but after a whole season, I think it's time to maybe spoil myself a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. And I'm thinking the best spot for it would be right up there somewhere. And of course, there's no direct way across that. So yeah, I guess we're going to have to make a bridge too. Look at all these guys down here. Those poor guys were always in the way, and I was worried about getting killed. So I invited them to swim for the season. Yeah. Alrighty, so we've got a bridge. We've got a way across. Now I need to go up there and figure out exactly where Home Sweet Home is gonna be. A little background on these bridges. The inspiration for them came from a bridge I saw at the local nature center. Of course, that one was flat in the water. We couldn't have that, but yeah. Always fun to take inspiration from local things. I think I want my windows to go right about here. Let's see. 1, 2, 3. All right, let's take a look and let's back out for a second. F4, plunk. Up, back. Yeah, I think that's a great place to put it. Should we give it a go? Let's do a grind session and see how it works out. Hey, seeing as that it's October, which is the realm of Halloween, how about a true life spooky story? One of my summer jobs as a kid was to help build seawalls. Not big concrete monstrosities, but the ones that require some poor sap to walk up and down the beach with heavy lumber on his back all day. And don't even ask me what minimum wage was. Now, it was kind of neat how they did this. They take a pretty decent water pump. They put one end in the water, and then they run a long fire hose. And then at the end of the fire hose, you had this like 10-foot aluminum pole where the water would jet out. Now, sand has no adhesive qualities. So as soon as you get the water started, you know, coming out the end of the pole and into the sand, what you end up with is basically a artificial sinkhole. And the farther you push that pole down into the sand, the more the water comes up and the deeper the sinkhole becomes. At which point you just walk over with a big old piece of lumber, you drop it down to where you want it, you pull the pole out and the sand backfills, and now you have something that is immovable for all intents and purposes. Now, back in the day, before all those pesky environmental regulations came along, people would actually put these seawalls way out in the water, sometimes 10, 15 feet off the shore. And then they would very discreetly fill it in. Why? Well, because waterfront property actually goes by square footage, and they would very cleverly add some additional value to their property. Not really ethical, but at the time it wasn't really illegal either. So the guys were out there in the water waist deep or so, and they're pushing that pole up and down while yours truly is running frantically back and forth. And we all hear that sound of metal hitting wood, you know, the thud. And that meant that the pole that he was pushing up and down hit something wooden. Could be an old board, could be a root. Generally, when it's that far out in the water, it's kind of pulpy and you can just kind of blast your way through it, which he did. And then he did it again. He did it again, and he did it again. He's all cussing and swearing because that's really slowing things down. And he's moving along, and all of a sudden he hears a tink, which sounds like metal hitting rock. Like, wow, that's kind of weird. Now, one of the guys that was out there, his side hustle was to sell Petoskey stones to craftsmen. So his eyes lit up with dollar signs because he figured he's got, you know, the mother lode or something. So they're out there fiddling around with it, and that guy's doing his best to get it up. And he finally gets it up out of the water, cradles it to his chest, walks over to the beach, and sets it down. At which point, I'm looking at it and going, hey, that Petoskey stone has square sides. At which point, my foreman kind of looks at me. He takes a bucket of water over and he pours it over the stone, which has a very flat surface. And he says, yeah, and it's got engraving in it too. As in born on and died on. Oh. Yeah, you guessed it. That wasn't a tree root at all. That was someone's final resting place. So the foreman hightails it up to the homeowner's house and gets him, and he's like, hey, we got a problem out here. Homeowner's got panic in his eyes, and he's like, yeah, we knew there was a cemetery around here somewheres, but the realtor assured us that all the bodies have been moved. At which point, some smart aleck 16-year-old, who definitely wasn't me, was like, yeah, well, they missed one. And that, boys and girls, is why you hold your breath when you go by a cemetery. Because you never know when some group of idiots is going to do something really stupid. We started this channel a little over a year ago, and we've almost hit 300 subs. Yay! But it has come to my attention that we've only ever made one kind of content. Why? Well, because I really like that kind of content. But one kind of content does not a channel make. So we are going to be adding some new stuff in addition to our Minecraft videos. So don't freak out if you see a different kind of video up there. I'm not walking away from Minecraft, but given the latest movie trailer, which name I will not utter here, I think it might be in my best interest to diversify a little bit. So keep an eye out for that, and hope to see you there. Alrighty, so the grind session is complete. The building is done, and hopefully the blowing up part is done. What do you say we do a really quick tour of everything we built this season? Episode 1 was our barn dominium. Now this might have seemed like a little bit of overkill for a starter base, but I knew I was going to get serious about building this year, so might as well get right to it, you know? It has storage and furnaces and bed and all that. It has an iron generator, and best of all, this guy right here will sell me all the diamond tooling I need. And what made this build particularly green was that everything you see came from locally sourced materials. From the jungle wood to the clay to the stone, everything was found on site. Never underestimate just how big of an impact that can make. Next, we got down to the serious job of building rivers. Personally, I don't think rivers are appreciated enough, so we dedicated an entire episode towards building rivers. And I really liked how this one came out. Next, we built a berm house. A berm house is one of my favorite, and that is where you bring the landscaping right up to the bottom of the windows. This provides an extra layer of insulation around the base of the house and generally helps heating and cooling by a pretty substantial amount. I had the pleasure of living in a berm house for a few years, and I have to say I absolutely loved it. Next, we have the earth-covered house. Now, this kind of house is exactly the type of construction you would use if you were going to build a hobbit hole. The arch-style architecture provides a phenomenal amount of strength, especially when you have all that weight on top. And I really like the looks of it. And of course, no Building Green series would ever be complete without mentioning the Earth ship. This type of design specializes in the absolute minimal amount of energy consumption. And a large part of the reason for its success in minimalist energy consumption is its passive heating and cooling system. IRL, these things are absolutely amazing. Episode 6, we did the urban alternative. Now, this was based on the average urban lot. And what we did is we put a hedge all the way around it, and then we sunk it down a few layers. We converted the lawn into food production. And then we went crazy on the orange terracotta. Why? Well, because some people like it spicy. And if it's going to be your home, then make it the way you want it. Next, we took green building into the city. Now, I live off-grid IRL, so living in the skyscraper probably wouldn't be my first choice. But there is no doubt that this type of construction, where you bring in lots and lots of greenery, is going to be substantially better for you who live there and for the environment than the standard steel and glass construction. Which brings us to today's episode. Now, up to now, it's all been about energy consumption and food production and those types of things. But there is another aspect that is worth considering, and that is the visual impact. Can you see the build in this picture? How about now? It's kind of the fireworks versus hidden treasure. Fireworks are awesome, but if you had to look at them all the time, it just would be too much. Whereas the hidden treasure, it's always there. More in your imagination than in your face. But that's enough poetic for right now. Let's step inside. We've got a little bit of storage here. We've got a nice little spiral staircase. Goes up, up, up. To, I don't know, what would you call this? Like a living room slash empty space? I don't know. We've got some cooking area. We got a fish there because that's what I've been eating all here. The double French doors. Here we go. We've got a grand display of armor up there because that's how I roll, you know. Got some books because I like to read books. We've got a little bed. And then over here, we have our, what would you call this? Work area slash storage area slash fun place. We've got lots of room to add things. And then we go through here. We have, boink, old door. Run, 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 run. This is very important. It goes all the way through to the other side. And if I ever make a season 2, I think I'll make it right here. What do you guys think? Is that worth doing? There's one more thing before we say goodbye. I hear it all the time. If we don't do this, the world's going to end. If we don't have the industrial food system, we're all going to starve to death. Blah, 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 blah. So let me throw some simple numbers at you. According to the experts, the average American eats 300 eggs per year. I'm not really sure how they came up with that number, because for a family of 3, that'd be like 72 dozen eggs every year. That seems a bit off to me, but for sake of argument, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. The average barred rock will lay between 4 and 5 times a week. So let's just round it down to the sake of 200. So if I had a flock of 5, that'd give me 1,000 eggs every year. I can tell you from personal experience that a flock of 5 will require a fraction of the feed cost than the average mid-sized dog. And you don't have to walk chickens. So let me end this series exactly where we started. The only thing necessary to make a difference is imagination and the tenacity to blow off the naysayers. Thanks so much for watching.